Hey guys, welcome back to Follow Me 11B. Discussions on current events, macroeconomics, and freedom and liberty from a veteran's perspective. Today, I wanted to start things off a little bit differently. I wanted to kind of do a new segment, if you will, on from time to time. I thought it might be a good idea to shine a spotlight on a social media influencer or content creator that I believe is worthy of a closer look by you, the viewer, the listener. And today I wanted to shine the spotlight on an Instagram poster, influencer that goes by the handle Freedom Jerry the Sheep. Love the name and I love the content. If you like news, if you like funny memes, and most importantly, if you like the truth, I think that at Freedom Jerry the Sheep on Instagram is definitely worth a closer look by you. I love it myself, and keep up the good work, Jerry. Now, for today's topic of this video, I wanted to do a review of the confirmation hearings of Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson. And to start things off, let's go straight to a news article from the Federalist by Ellie Reynolds from the 23rd of March, entitled, "If Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't know what a woman is, why does she use the word so much?" Joe Biden's recent Supreme Court nominee, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, whom the president has admitted was nominated in part because she is a woman, stunned listeners on Tuesday when she refused to give a definition of what a woman is. Quote, "I can't, I'm not a biologist," unquote, Jackson said after Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn asked her to provide a definition of the word woman. Let me help out. And for that, we'll go straight to the Webster's New World Dictionary. Looking up the word woman, it is an adult female human being. Real hard. I am not a veterinarian, but I know what a dog is. All right, but not knowing what a woman is, Jackson loves to use the word. Here are 14 times she invokes the fairer sex. In just the first 2 days of her confirmation hearings, plus 34 times she used the word in her legal opinions as a judge. I'm not going into all those, but here's a few highlights. In her opening statement on day one of her confirmation hearings, Jackson opined that, "I stand on the shoulders of so many who have come before me, including Judge Constance Baker Motley, who was the first African-American woman to be appointed to the bench." On day two, Jackson discussed, here's a quote, "Roe and Casey are the settled law of the Supreme Court concerning the right to terminate a woman's pregnancy," she said. Quote, here's another quote, "After Casey, the court has determined not so much that the right to terminate a woman's pregnancy is fundamental," she continued. She also mentioned a female witness in the case related to child sex crimes. A little bit farther down the article, here's a quote, "I am humbled and honored to have the opportunity to serve in this capacity and to be the first and only black woman to serve on the United States Supreme Court," she said. "And again, because I am a woman, because I am a black woman, all of those things people have said have been really meaningful to them." And then in 3 times in the same sentence, hold on, I got to warm up for this one. Got to take a deep breath. It's quite a run-on sentence, but here goes. Quote, "I gave a speech about black women in the civil rights movement. Most of the speech, if not all of the speech, was focused on African American women in their contributions to the civil rights movement, unsung contributions in many cases, and then some of the more recent African American women who have made claims, who have done things in our society." Whew. I think her grammar would be a little bit better than that at the, district court and U.S. Circuit Court level. She even acknowledged not just the existence of women, but the existence of men. Wow, that's brave. "We believe that we have a government of laws, not men," she told senators. "And yet there are men and women who are acting as judges in the context of our system." A little bit later here, after Marsha Blackburn, questioned Jackson about an opinion, McGuire versus Riley, if you want to look it up, she'd signed, referring to pro-lifers as a, quote, "hostile, noisy crowd of in-your-face protesters," unquote. Jackson referred to, quote, women who wanted to enter abortion clinics in her response. That opinion made 5 more references to a woman or women. Repeatedly using a word she says, this is the closing of the article, repeatedly using a word she says she can't define is not a good look for a potential Supreme Court justice. Blackburn should ask Jackson, what did you mean by woman all those times you said and wrote it? Bravo, Ellie Reynolds. All right. Yeah. You'd think that some of these basic questions you would not be, you would be able to author an opinion on, is what is up and what is down. Well, I can't say that. It might come up in a future court case. Further, we have to recognize that President Biden specifically announced prior to ever even meeting this person in the context of a Supreme Court nomination anyway, that he was going to nominate a black woman, and that should probably give her a clue as to what a woman is. Okay, moving on to one more article by AL.com. Senator Richard Shelby is a no on the Ketanji Brown Jackson Supreme Court nomination. It's from April 1st, 2022. Lita Gore is the author, and it goes like this. Citing concerns over judicial philosophy and other issues, Senator Richard Shelby said he will vote against Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination for the U.S. Supreme Court. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet with Judge Jackson. As with any nominee to the Supreme Court, I believe it is important to carefully consider their qualifications and credentials, including their judicial philosophy, temperament, and prior decisions as a judge. We had a candid discussion in which I questioned her about my concerns, such as her judicial philosophy, position on court packing, and prior sentencing record as a judge, said Shelby, Republican of Alabama. While I enjoyed meeting Judge Jackson, her answers did not sufficiently alleviate my concerns. As such, I am unable to support her in her nomination to the Supreme Court. Despite the no vote, Jackson is on track to be confirmed by the full Senate as soon as next week, with all Democrats voting for her and Vice President Kamala Harris breaking any ties. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican of Alabama, said he hasn't made a final decision on voting on her nomination, but expressed similar concerns to Shelby. While Tuberville and Judge Jackson had a good discussion, I still have concerns about her lenient record on sentencing and crime, especially when it comes to child pornography. So, on that topic, some of the child pornography, lenient on child pornography things you may have heard about, here's a little bit more on that. There was a few cases, and I'll just touch on 2 real quick. The first one is the defendant's name was Chazen, a child pornography case in which the federal guidelines were 78 to 97 months, and Ketanji Brown Jackson sentenced him to 28 months. There was another case, defendant's last name was Hawkins, and federal guidelines call for 97 to 121 months. She issued a sentence of 3 months. So, obviously quite a bit below the federal guidelines, and this is what's throwing concern in the minds of many of her skeptics, shall we say, mostly from the Republican side of the aisle. I'll let you be the judge on if that's a good idea or a bad idea to go far below federal guidelines, but that's what the hubbub is about as far as that goes. There are 2 other things that were pretty controversial about these hearings. The first is her position on life. Let me start off with, she agrees with Judge Barrett and Judge Kavanaugh on Roe versus Wade being settled law. But you might notice that when they ask her anything controversial, she can't really talk about it, or she just gives you a wishy-washy answer that doesn't really get you anywhere. Likely and admittedly because it may come up in a future case or so on and so forth. But if it's something that supports the liberal narrative, then it's settled law. So I have to kind of look at that as well. But Senator Kennedy of Louisiana, he asked the question, when does life begin? Now, I think most scientists and most doctors would probably say Life begins at conception, when an egg and a sperm meet, and, an embryo, fetus, a baby is formed. I think that's pretty much settled. But as far as like morality and legally for abortion purposes, that's a whole different topic. But I think scientifically, if you're going to follow the science, kind of happens when there's an egg and a sperm that meet. Thinking back to biology and sex education class in junior high school. Not that hard. But she said, and I quote, to reply to this question, I don't know. So that's kind of a problem too, when you can't answer just the most basic questions, or you refuse to answer the most basic questions. In my opinion, I think I'm alive. I think Judge Jackson is alive. I think most babies are alive. I'm not so sure about Joe Biden, but most people that are above ground, walking around, moving around, are alive. And even if they're not walking around, I'll let you be the judge. But the final thing that we touched on some of these articles also was when she was asked by Marsha Blackburn about what is a woman, and she couldn't give an answer. And that was a little shocking. Like, again, especially since she was nominated partially because she was a black woman. I mean, if you can't answer these basic things, then it's kind of a concern. And I realize that she's probably not answering these on purpose because of a potential case down the road for who knows what, the trans movement, or who knows what is going to come down next. But in my opinion, it's not that complicated. But again, as always, I could be wrong. So please let me know in the comments below of this video. And don't forget to visit us, like us, follow us on Facebook at FollowMe11B and Twitter at FollowMe11B and at Instagram on The Real FollowMe11B. And don't forget to visit Freedom Jerry the Sheep also on Instagram. And we'll see you all on the next video.